Thank you for joining the Monday edition of Journalist Hangout. This week, I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the Hangout, Governor Aregbesola denies that the state's financial crisis has caused the collapse of his projects, vows to keep faith with modulated salary structure. And later on the show, former President Goodluck Jonathan advises Atiku Abubakar to go and apologize to Obasanjo. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Lekon Shote. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now.
My name is Abdullahi Umar Gannoji, the governor of Kano State. I do watch journalists hang out. I don't miss it. I ask you, please don't miss it. Thank you.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is your groundbreaking program of the year, Journalist Hangout. Now, hate him or love him, the governor of the state of Osun, Ogbeni Aregbesola, is in his 7th season. Since he got into the pole position in 2010, Aregbesola has engineered huge transformation in infrastructure and socio-economic development, perhaps not witnessed in the 26 years of the state's existence. In 2016, Borno State Governor Kazim Shettima and his Kebbi State counterpart Abubakar Bagudu recognized Aregbesola's efforts as worthy of emulation by other governors in Nigeria. Interestingly, not many shared this opinion. They believe that the state government had overreached itself, plunging the state into debts and financial crisis with people-oriented welfare programs and infrastructural projects that have collapsed due to lack of funds. But Governor Aregbesola says this is false. He maintained that the progress and transformation of the states is incontestable and vowed to keep faith with modulated salary structure. So let me just take you to Osun State and hear what Governor Aregbesola told us earlier.
From January of 2014 to June of 2015, our income from federation account was less than our salary, wages, and pension bills. So what that says, therefore, is that without even any project at all, our resources could hardly match our need. The question to ask is this: why is that so? Simple. People may want to dismiss it, but I've explained and I will explain again. Osun supplied, almost at parallel with Ogun, the bulk of manpower of Western region, not Western state, to Western region. And this persisted up until Oyo, New Oyo, was created from Oyo State, from Old Oyo. So the bulk of all the workers in Old Western region, Old Western State, Old Oyo moved to Osun with their pension bill. And with improved condition of living, they hardly die. And may God protect and prolong their lives. So I don't want them to think that I am wishing them evil. I'm not. I pray that they live very, very long. Life is better, so they live very long. One of them passed on less than a year ago, Tejumade Alakija. If you really want to know, I mean, so we carry the burden of their pension. If you get to know the bill, my pension bill, you will marvel. And we all resolved at this. The junior workers should have their full pay as at when due. So workers on government salary scale 1 to 7 from June of 2015 from July of 2015, we pay them with the bailout up to June. From July of 2015 to date, receive their full salary, and about 75-80% of the workforce every month as at when due. Middle class, middle level workers on salary level 8 to 10, and they constitute about 14 or so % of the workforce. Initially, took 50% of their gross pay, not basic, gross. And the other one, gross pay. But by September of 2016, that changed. Now they receive 75% of their gross salary as at when due every month, while the fat cats, the top echelon of the service, again about 10. If the other one is 15, about 10%. They take 50%, including all political office holders, and yours sincerely. But the truth is, I don't even take any salary since I got here. I refuse to take salary. And why did I refuse? I refuse because I live in a free house. I eat free food. I have cars, not even a car. I have access to government vehicles. And friends support me with dresses. So I realize that I don't need money, really. Yes. So if I'm going to be honest with myself, even when there was money, I refuse to take salary, and I still don't take salary. But were I to take salary, I would receive half of my pay, because my deputy, who started to make salary after the first 2 years, has been getting half pay. So all of us in the government have been taking half salary. All of us, all politicians in government, have been taking equally half salary. As it applies to the active workers, so does it apply to passive workers. By passive workers, I mean the pensioners, those who are on pension. For emphasis, levels 1 to 7 in Osun receive full salary. Yes. And there was 75%. Levels 8 to 10 receive 75%, and there was 50%. Levels 12, because there's no level 11, levels 12 to 17, both in active and passive, receive 50% of whatever of the entitlement. All political appointees equally get 50%. That is how we have been surviving. It's tough. We are aware of the challenges that all of us face, but it's about the only way, reasonable way to survive in this hard time. So no war has been declared, but the truth is we are going in an economic sense through the equivalent of a war. To date, in spite of everything we are doing, we are spent on salaries in Osun 222 billion naira. Since November 27, 2010 to date, 222 billion naira on salaries.
Ogbeni Rauf Adesoji Aregbesola, no doubt one of the most misunderstood governor in Nigeria today, because when you see his commitments, when you see his passion, times I've had to sit down with him and listen to what Ogbeni has conviction and about how passionate he is about the development of that state, refers to as the state of Osun. Babajide, one very, very stigma. Anytime they talk about Osun, the first thing that will come to your head is, oh, he's owing salary.
Half salary.
Oh, he's paying half salary. So, and there's this miscommunication out there. So when you want to look at Osun, you say, oh, he's going to a failed state. Because anytime they want to associate salaries or governors not carrying out their responsibility to workers, what really happened?
I think that Aregbesola, no doubt about it, he was desperate to do so much within a short time, so much. And he thought that the solvency that the states enjoyed during the Jonathan years that will continue. He never saw that danger coming, and that reflected in his expansionist infrastructural drive. When you see a governor who made up his mind to rebuild nearly all the schools that he inherited, you know that he must have thought that, look, this money will keep coming. And since it will keep coming, we must do so much to show that, yes, we really mean well for our people. And one thing about him, all the projects, you see that those projects have to do with making lives better for people. Because what is the value of a government if by its policies, by its actions, it does not show compassion to the poor? When Aregbesola came up with the free meal for
that popular school meal,
yes, for the school meal program, and he started having challenges, financial challenges, people piled pressure that he should end it. That if he ended it, he will be able to free funds to pay salaries and do other things. But this man refused to stop it because even by that policy alone,
school enrollment in public school, yes,
school enrollment
in Osun State now, yeah,
because the children were guaranteed free meal at least 2 times a day. And I remember I was in Protea Hotel in 2015 when this vice president, Demi Oshibajo, promised that the APC administration would replicate
yes, it was like
that
a pilot
school feeding program.
Yes,
you know,
they checked what Osun was doing.
Yes, so Aregbesola came up with a novel idea, and even when things became extremely difficult,
he stuck to it.
He stuck to it. That is the stuff of leadership, good leadership. A good leader must not buckle under the slightest of pressures. At that time too, his school renewal project and reclassification project came under pressure.
Controversy.
People, the argument is, this man has beaten more than he can chew.
Yes.
I am also, I'm one of those who felt that, given the realities on ground, he beat more than he could chew.
Baptist community, the
when you go to Osun State and you see the quality of those schools, there is nowhere else in Nigeria, not even in Lagos.
President Buhari came to, commission some of those schools.
There's nowhere in this country where you find, in terms of the quality of the structures.
As you are entering Osogbo, you remember that school at the left?
I think it's Atauja, Atauja High School. You know, so it was difficult in the beginning, but you will see now that people can see the beauty of those projects. Every community, I was passing through Odelmu, you know, just after Gbongan, and I saw their own elementary school. Very beautiful. So it's unfortunate that he ran into this financial mess. But here was a man who had so much to do. You know, I hope that
against time.
I hope that that era of solvency will come back,
and they will be able to.
So that I will be able to at least complete his projects.
What do you feel about the whole financial engineering and how Rauf Aregbesola is trying to keep his state afloat?
I'd like to inform you that once in a while, I guess because I'm a columnist, people actually call me they send me text messages and tell me about the situation in Osun State. So after a lot of people I don't know send me text messages or call me and complain. So one day I took time, I went to Oshogbo. I wanted to find out on my own what was going on. Well, first I went to the website, all these old mills, old schools, the entire project. I wanted to understand what it was.
About.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's a 6-point agenda. You know, I went through it, and I thought they were beautiful, you know. So I went there. I took an Okada, and I was
Legon, we'll come back to you immediately. Let me quickly peel this bill. Let me just take this breather.
Okay.
We'll come back immediately after this breather. In case you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this breather. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout, and we are looking at the 7 years of giant stride of that man they call Ogbeni Rauf Adesoji Aregbesola. He's the governor of the state of Osun. Lekon, you were telling us about your testimony.
Yes, so I went around and I saw the programs. And I was asking myself, are we just spending money or are we investing? That was the question I was asking. And for example, I understand that there's a project, they are making roads. Now, they now have a place where they get the coal tar. The state invests to manufacture, to blend coal tar. I said, okay, that sounds like something like an investment. I went to even what they call the aerodrome. I said, why aerodrome in Osun State? And they explained to me that it's going to be a cargo aerodrome to move cocoa farm crops from Osun State and adjoining states outside the country. And I thought that was fantastic. I even spoke to the, it was being consulted by an Air Force office. Air Force, I think Air Force had a company that constructs aerodromes and so on. So I was asking, they are going to have a repair hangar in that place. I was really intrigued. And quite a few other things. They were even telling me that there's going to be like a storehouse somewhere. All these manufacturers, like Unilever, like Cadbury and so on, they can come in, freight their goods by train to Oshogbo, which will now be a central distribution point. I was.
I've even seen a chocolate
so I went around. It was about 2 or 3 days. I went around, really wanted to know what was going on because people were calling me, inundating me with calls and text messages, and I have to confess to you, I was impressed. You know, however, the issue of non-payment of salaries of individuals who are alive, who have responsibilities to feed themselves and to pay other bills, that one exists. And I kept asking questions. What are the revenue profile of this state? Found out that it's one of the, where in a state will collect 28 billion naira from the federation allocation, Osun State will collect 1.7 or some ridiculous. Okay, how have they been doing with their IGR? I found out also that I think from about 250 or 300, they were able to push it to, I think 600 and later to 1.6 billion naira. I said, okay, there's an effort to get a lot of people, more people into the dragnet. So I'm asking myself, if the federal allocation, the federal system that we say we are running is impoverishing states, such that states actually have to be looking up to the federal government to get money to even just pay their bills, basic bills, then we have a problem. I'm looking at something beyond Governor Aregbesola himself.
Okay.
I'm looking at our federation system.
Let's look at this perspective. Now, with more than 70 newly built ultramodern schools, free uniforms and free meal programs, Borno and Kebbi state governors have described Osun State's education system as one of the best in the world. Babajide, at a point in time, this man commissioned the Okpon Imo.
Yes.
So, let me quickly just take you to let me take you to what he has to say on his education strike, his strikes in the education sector.
In sub-Saharan Africa, there is no, even including South Africa, no nation can boast of having better pre-varsity education infrastructure than we do now. I say that with pride, joy, and high conviction. We are not paying workers, and I ask them, human beings work. Birds that cannot walk fly. Yes, technology is working hard on making man to fly without aeroplane, but technology has not succeeded very well. You take a step at a time. We have restructured the entire gamut of learning, pre-varsity learning, education, based on recommendation of the Education Summit that Professor Wole Soyinka shared. We now have elementary schools as against conventional colonial primary school running from 1 to 6. We now have elementary schools catering for students or pupils in elementary 1, the old primary 1, to elementary 4, grade 4, the old primary 4. We moved students from old primary 5 to join primary 5 and 6 to join pupils in the junior secondary school to form middle schools. And then we rebranded senior secondary school high schools in Osun. So you have elementary, which is grade 1 to 4, middle, which is grade 5 to 9, high, which is grade 10 to 12. Now, so having done that, we decided to rebuild all schools. We went to do 100 elementary schools of 1,000 student capacity, ditto for middle school, and then 25 high schools. That was our plan, our vision. We have done quite a number of elementary schools. The number I can't give you off the cuff. We have done a number of middle schools, but we are completing 11 state-of-the-art high school. I mentioned the capacity of our elementary 1,000, middle school 1,000 capacity schools, high capacity schools, and then high school 3,000 capacity ish. Okay. We are completing by early next year, focus of next year, all the high schools, God willing. And the 11 will have capacity for 33,000 students. As to the impact, the elementary school feeding system or program has more impact in enrollment, clearly, because we had for the first 6 months of the introduction of free food in elementary school, we have 25% jump in enrollment.
Welcome back. Julie, I am just short of words because I feel that those people handling awareness communication, they've done justice to do more in projecting what this man has done.
Probably Ogbeni himself has to make the funds available.
Because
a
lot of people they're not aware of these schools.
You'll get my point. Mm-hmm. To get your message across also costs money. You have to. TV stations will not put all of this out there. Because for me, I didn't believe that this kind of beautiful schools are in Nigeria. And in all of those schools, there are halls, big halls. There is a particular school where there
basketball courts,
where there are 30 toilets. That's the school in Ilesha, 30 toilets. Because, look, I remember when Sule Lamido took over in Jigawa State, there is an all-female school where the girls were defecating in the open. So public schools, the same thing in Bauchi State. A governor left office. The governor later became chairman of the PDP. Children were receiving instruction under trees. It was at that point that a new governor came in and decided to change things. So the truth is, the media will not know that these things are there unless someone tells them, look,
deliberate efforts.
You go and do this
on the part of the governor.
And then the governor has to make efforts
to show the
to
world.
shout to the world that I'm doing this.
Governors that have not done 1/10 of this. They are busy, they are all over the media.
They have programs. They have programs and people are seeing what they are doing and they are calling them the best. Aregbesola stands out among governors in Nigeria. I'm not surprised that his own colleagues came, saw what he has done, and they said, this is Governor Shetima and Atiku Bagudu from Kebbi.
Minimal
and
funds.
They said, this is what we have done. Some of his programs are already being replicated by his colleagues.
That, of course, point more.
That is
that
why,
one is novel.
You see, when you do well, even your enemy will try to copy some of your plans. Because I know that even amongst governors, there are some of them who do not like his face because he likes to speak his mind at all times. If you have a habit of speaking your mind at all times, you have a commitment to the truth. Nigerians will not like you. They will go to Twitter, they will call you names, they will abuse you.
Yes.
That is the nature of our people. So what I'm saying that even some of those who do not like him have had cause to copy some of what he has done. It's unfortunate that paucity of funds means that Aregbesola has not been able to please civil servants as he would have loved to do. But at least he did something. We have governors in Nigeria, which is where I'm going. We have governors in Nigeria who will not pay a dime for months. I'll be saying, oh, the money is not enough. But he came up with an idea. He said, gentlemen, this is what I can afford. And the greatest Nigerian labor leader after Baba Imodu, Hassan Sumonu, who is a respected African labor leader, was the one that Aregbesola called to help him create that template, whereby those who earn so little take 100%.
They will take their money
gross
from
salary.
level 1.
Then the second batch will take 75, and then political office holders and the fat cats, those who are on level 10 to 17, will take 50%. So that way, at least people, every month, people can look forward to something. It's still not good enough, but at least they can get something.
All right, I'll quickly go on this break again. When we come back, we'll wrap up on the giant stride of Ogbeni Rauf Adesoji Aregbesola. Welcome back. If you're just joining us at the via TVT Entertainment, our terrestrial platform, this is Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria, and we are looking at the 7 years of Ogbeni Rauf Adesoji Aregbesola. Can Governor Aregbesola test his popularity in the light of criticism? Legon, big task that way. He doesn't have the best when it comes to media. When it comes to media relation and everything, doesn't have the best handlers and everything. But let me take you again to Ogbeni and just see what he has to say on that.
Okay.
If anybody, after 4 years in office, could have as much crowd as I pull at any point in Osun, I challenge that person to come and do a contest with me.
Well, unfortunately, the only seat that former governor, that Governor Aregbesola can contest for now is maybe a senator or maybe the presidency, because he's not going to have a third term as governor, you know. So, but like I was saying before we went out the first time, is that You know, I don't just want us to concentrate only on Governor Aregbesola. I want us to look at the broader issues of this federalism that we are running, that is impoverishing states. You know, I don't want to speak like a PR person for Governor Aregbesola, but some of the things I've seen, I saw somebody with intentions, and I can see evidence of what he did on ground. For example, Okpoimo, there's supposed to be a plant in Ilesha that will be manufacturing this thing, and Osun State was supposed to be a partner in that project. There's even the school uniform thing.
Yes.
You know, these things, maybe because of my orientation, I look at things that will bring money back.
Employ tailors, get them engaged.
Yeah, you know, this food thing you're talking about, at
caterers.
that time, I don't know about now, at that time, about 2 or 3 years ago when I went there, they said the cooks were about 3,000 of them.
I think it's more than that now.
I don't know.
I think it's more than that because the enrollment, after that time, the enrollment just...
So, you know, for me, that impresses me. Now, why are states poor? Why must they wait for federal government before they can pay their basic bills? That is the issue. That's the problem I have. And I think we should, maybe another time, we should actually examine this, you know, rather. But I can see efforts on the side of the governor to resolve his issues as best as he can. I also was able to meet Alhaji Hassan Sumon. You know, that time I spoke, and he spoke with me extensively. And that was the first time I met him, and I'm sure he didn't quite know what I was about, but he spoke in a very open manner to me, and I was impressed. So I think the governor, just like Jide has observed, needs to get his PR people to be more up and doing, to let people know what he's doing. Listen, I would have thought that half bread is, I like my full bread, but if I'm not going to get my full bread and I get half bread, and then you acknowledge that you owe me money, you will pay me later. Yes. No problem. When things are much better, it means I'm going to have a windfall.
This same governor was giving civil servants 13th month.
You know.
The only governor in Nigeria was doing that. 13th month, when things were buoyant. So,
you know,
so now
one
that
thing I found out, I wanted to find out, I said, did he start by not paying salaries? Because I wanted to know when he became governor.
I said he was paying 13th month.
You know, and I found out that actually he was paying, but when things got out of hand, he now started having issues.
He was not only paying, he's wanting to pay, he's wanting to go out of your pay, I mean of your way, to even pay much more than your colleagues are paying as governors. You know. He began to pay 13th month. That is the point that I'm making. That in December, civil servants are entitled to a bonus. Just like it happens in some private, in the private sector, some section of the private sector. So this clearly will show you that if he had so much money at his disposal, he will even do much more than he's doing. I feel the pain of civil servants in Osun State. The salaries of civil servants are not even enough. So, not to talk of not getting
the pittance,
all of that. At this time, what civil servants will want is even an increment in salary.
As a matter of fact, that's what I wanted to say now.
Paying 100% for those junior workers is not even enough, because all of what ought to come to them will have been stripped off them by inflation. Inflation has gone up in the last 2 years, especially because of the increase in fuel prices.
At the point in time, so 17 is now 15 for something.
You can't argue that those civil servants can't be too happy. But I know of states in this country where a governor fails to pay for upwards of 3-4 months, and then suddenly he pays 1 month, and he thinks he has done civil servants a favor. Now someone came up with an idea that ensures that every month at least you get something. You know? And Dixon too. Dixon, when he saw that, because when you don't pay at all, which is what I quarrel with, when you don't pay at all,
what are you now doing with the small money?
When you don't pay at all, it will mount, and at some point you will not be able to pay anymore. So Dixon called civil servants and said, "See, I can only afford 50% at this time. Please take it from me." And some of them took it. In difficult times, people expect that there will be extreme measures. Even during the war, women in the UK were selling their jewelry to finance the war efforts. So I do not want civil servants to think, oh, Jide approves of their pains, the pains that they are going through. Because both of my parents were civil servants. I know how people feel. But we are in a difficult situation as a country. Talking finally about the schools. Yes, Aregbesola has given Osun State excellent schools. But I'm concerned about quality of instruction. The quality of instruction has to improve. The record does not show me. The record does not show me that the quality of instruction has improved. You can build grandiose and fantastic world-class schools. No doubt about it. You see those schools, you see even the laboratories. Look, it's just that we can't see everything. This bearded man has done so much. But the quality of instruction has to improve. If the quality of instruction does not improve, then having those beautiful structures will be meaningless.
Another thing that is of great concern before we wrap up on this, gentlemen, is when somebody is coming with this kind of vision, if a successor get there, if a successor should get there tomorrow and he might not share the same vision.
The thing.
Because these schools, as I'm saying it, I've seen government, you know, finishing, okay, look at the Almajiri schools in the north. Yesterday I read something that the 5-point-something billion naira Almajiri school has been abandoned. I read it, I saw the weeds, I read them. Now, Ogbeni has done all this and everything. Government should be, you know, a continuous thing. What should you do? How are we going to ensure that, look, or the people of Osun?
Well, I'm not going to blame Governor Aregbesola if that does not continue, because he is no longer in charge. Whoever takes over from him should continue. Now, but it has become almost like endemic in this country. When a governor or a president pursues a program, somebody else comes, and then he just abandons it. That's why you have a quantum of abandoned projects all over the country. You know? So I think that's an issue for another day.
Jide, wrapping up on this now?
Yes, I think that when we talk about schools, we tend to give the impression that this is all the governor has done. When it comes to roads, roads, I don't think outside of Lagos State, I've seen any governor who has done as much roads as Aregbesola has done. Remember, he was Commissioner for Works here, and during Tinubu's time, so many inner city roads, you know, were constructed. He has done that in Osun. There's no doubt that he picked up valuable lessons here. As Commissioner for Works in Lagos for 8 years, he has done so many inner city roads in Osun State, and that is crucial. Inner city roads, beyond even the urban roads and all that. So
connecting.
If we want to talk about what Aregbesola has done, we'll probably need 2 or 3 programs
of this system.
Time is always...
Honestly, moving on now, in a manner akin to the famed statements, go and sin no more. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has words of advice for former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Last Friday, Atiku dumped the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, but left Nigerians to speculate about his next move politically. He has not indicated the party he is going to join, at least for now. Neither has he declared his intention to run for the presidency. In 2015, he challenged President Muhammadu Buhari for the APC presidential tickets. Today, Jonathan said Atiku's chances of becoming president in 2019 will be bright if he contested on the platform of the People's Democratic Party. He says Atiku must apologize to his former boss, Olusegun Obasanjo, if he wants to realize his presidential ambition. He said, and I quote, "Any politician who ignores Obasanjo does so at his own peril." Lekon, Word of wisdom coming from Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to Atiku Abubakar.
I think was it 2012 or 2013 when Obasanjo wrote a letter.
Yes,
September,
that famous letter.
Yeah. Before the end of it, or something, I forgot the title of that letter. I read that letter, and I knew that that was the end of the Jonathan presidency. And I actually wrote a column on it titled "The End Game to Jonathan Presidency." To show you how significant that article was, I got 22,000 hits. People reading that article all over the world. That further convinced me that this man was out of his way, out of the presidency. And you saw how General Obasanjo, can we say call him General Obasanjo, found his way out of PDP.
Toys.
Got somebody to tear his thing. And then was receiving APC leaders in his house, even while he was still in PDP, and saying that, I'm quoting, almost quoting him now, that APC has what it takes to run this government, while still be a member, a card-carrying member of PDP. You know, and I recall, I think whether it was OGTV or one of these stations, Obasanjo went to Itoku Market, where they sell all these...
no, TVC.
Was TVC, yes. And then he went for no reasons, and he was just going on the street. And then they went to greet him. And then the reporter asked him a question. I don't know if it was a planted question. You know, I think the election had gone on. Yeah. And then the person asked him, what, these people that are greeting you, what have you come to? Yeah, I've just come to greet these people. He said, okay, but what should they do at the coming election, which is just 2 days election from now? He's saying what they did last week is what they should just do now. And of course, the outcome of the presidential election did not surprise anybody. So I like to think that former President Goodluck Jonathan knows what he's talking about.
Is Olusegun Obasanjo, is he God? Because when somebody is directing you, I know Jonathan is talking from experience.
From experience, yes.
Ruben Abati actually replied that letter, and the rest they say is history. And he went as far as even describing Obasanjo as, at a point in time, like a garage tout.
That's right.
And
he didn't mention his
name. He didn't mention his name, but we know who he was referring to. But is it so strategic to the extent that Atiku Abubakar will need to go and beg him?
You see, Obasanjo doesn't, in the real sense, have electoral value. In 2003, he had to rig the election in Ogun State. The number of voters, the number of votes that he got, outstripped the number of registered voters.
Actual voters.
So much rigging took place during the Obasanjo years. No doubt about that. Yes. Now, the issue is, if Obasanjo, though he doesn't have electoral value, but his mouth can inflict maximum damage. The moment, Jonathan responded to that open letter by showing how the economy did better during his time. All of those indices from foreign
figures.
Obasanjo was not happy. When the criticism continued, Jonathan said some elder statesmen behave like touts. That was the last straw. When he even went to apologize, Obasanjo said, I don't want to see you. You called me a tout. I made you. I made you president and you called me a tout. That was the departure point. So after Obasanjo went on a campaign of demarketing Jonathan,
seriously,
Jonathan observed that the American president stopped picking his calls. And the Cameron too stopped picking his calls. Yes. And these people began to push for new leadership in Nigeria. They began to talk about change. They began to warn that there should not be rigging. And he wanted to get across to people that used to get across to before.
Ordinarily.
But out there,
it was fenced out.
Obasanjo is highly respected by international. So the moment he started demarketing this fellow, that was the end. So, and he didn't allow them, because he really forgives. He didn't allow them to convince him to forgive him. Now, when they say Obasanjo has left partisan politics, I just laugh at people. McCarthy went to Obasanjo the other day, and Obasanjo kept him inside his house. They had a meeting, they locked people out, and they spoke for about 2 hours. He's no longer in the PDP. What were they discussing? And he told McCarthy that he should not address anybody. He should just go straight to his car and leave. His house is opposite the PDP secretariat. PDP members were waiting to be addressed by their leader. McCarthy refused to talk to anyone. And those people left in anger because Obasanjo didn't want him to give a hint of what they discussed. And
Obasanjo came that day, same day, said, I can't go back to my vomit.
No, he knows what he's saying. He still will play a role in who becomes the next president. You know, he's been talking about David Mark and the other people. Since he started talking about David Mark, others will try to go to him to say, look, Baba, stop promoting David Mark. We are better than David Mark. So those who want to be president will not leave him alone, because once he begins to run that mouth at you, go on. Even, why did they pick him up in 1995? Because they know, Abacha knows that if he leaves Obasanjo alone to continue to criticize him, in no time the international community will bring down his government. So he lied against Obasanjo, that Obasanjo planned a coup. Then they claimed that it was Bello Fadile that went to Obasanjo to convince him to join the coup. Obasanjo said, when did you come to, they claimed that he visited him. They checked all the register. Bello Fadile's name was never on the register of people who came to see Obasanjo in the Sota farm. So they had to frame Bello Fadile so that they can get Obasanjo and lock him up so that they can have peace. Remember that interview that Obasanjo granted, Tell Magazine, against IBB, where he described IBB's regime as a fraud. That was the beginning. IBB's regime didn't last 1 year after that publication. So people have known that this man is like what the Yoruba say that he cannot go out and raise your hand up for people to vote for you. But if he begins to campaign against you, even those who have political value, they will turn against you. So you won't find anyone that you can go to say, oh yeah, come and support me. That's what Goodluck Jonathan was saying. But in my view, Atiku has begged enough. Remember, it's recorded that Atiku went to see him.
That's a book launch now?
No, beyond the book launch. Atiku went to see him in Ota against the intention of his own party, the ACN, back then, if you remember. So he has begged enough. In my view, Obasanjo is a Christian. Obasanjo owns a church where he worships. He has a church, his own church in Abeokuta. A Christian should have the heart to forgive. So it's about time, but I know he won't listen to me. It's about time that Obasanjo forgave whatever sins that Atiku has forgiven him, committed.
There's this even toga of corruption that was given to Atiku Abubakar, despite the fact that he has not been convicted by any court in Nigeria. It was during this Obasanjo administration that impression all around. So when you talk about Atiku now, the only thing that will come to your head, this man is corrupt. This man has tendency for corrupt. But no court, he has never been convicted.
Ayo, I had a meeting with a former governor of one of the northwest states. And I said, why aren't you people promoting or supporting or backing Atiku? His words now. Say Atiku is a revenue collector. And he didn't say more than that. And then I said, revenue, he said, you know, he was a revenue collector, he was a customs officer. I said, oh, okay. Then he was trying to go beyond, find an indirect manner of saying that he was corrupt, you know. And I said, but I don't think I've heard any court convict him, or that he has been taken before taken to any court.
And it's about the most investigated vice president.
I like to think that for me, he looks like a smart businessman as far as I'm concerned. You know, I said, that's the impression I have. He said, well, that's your impression. He said, but we know what we believe, and we work on that. And I think one thing that is probably working against Atiku Abubakar is, even though he's Fulani, he's from the Northeast. The power base is in the Northwest, you know, and they have population. There are about 188 local governments in the Northwest, whereas there are about 110 local governments in the Northeast. That tells you a lot, you know. And there is surfeit of presidential candidates or hopefuls, let's put it like that, in the Northwest than, I think Atiku Abubakar is probably the only one who seems to be raising his head from the Northeast. For now, you know. So, and I think that informed Mama Taraba's outburst that, how about we too? Don't we have a say or a stake in the presidency? If you say it has gone to come back to the North, can't we also ask for this, for these things? So I think that is also something that is weighing against, and this Northwest has adopted Obasanjo as one of them. You recall last year when they had a Doba and Obasanjo was on a horseback to go and pay homage to the Sultan of Sokoto. That tells me a lot.
Jide, this perception.
Yeah, I think Obasanjo has done his best to promote that perception. Remember the PTDF probe?
That's right.
And Atiku said that Obasanjo gave him verbal approval. He gave him approval. But Obasanjo said he should produce the approval, and he said it was verbal. You know, he's been investigated so many times, but the truth is, until you catch him this way, you just be calling him thieves for nothing. And that is the point that I always make. It's not enough to proclaim people and say people are thieves, people, they're stealing so much. You must come up with evidence. Today we were discussing Diezani with one of my colleagues, and I said, the Americans and the Britons are not like us. They can investigate you for 7 years before coming up with a charge. In our own case, the EFCC first calls you a thief. They will take you before the court and then start looking for evidence. Look at how many people have been freed by the courts because you will not do due diligence.
You have to arrest Pius Ayim first, and you went to court to ask for more time so that you complete your investigation.
So now, look at Diezani. I said it last week. Diezani, they've taken her passport since 2.5 years ago. But London Met have not been able to bring her before any court.
And she's not under arrest.
They've not charged her because they've not found enough evidence. The kind of evidence that she cannot escape. They've not found it. If it takes them 5 years, they will wait.
All right, we have to go. Lekon Shote, thank you for being our guest on this edition. Me and Jide, we do this every other time. And that's it on Journalist Hangouts today. Join us for another interesting episode of the program tomorrow. You can also watch Journalist Hangouts, the repeat broadcast today by 11 on all our platforms that you can see. And you can also watch Journalist Hangout on YouTube. That's youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Bye for now. God bless Nigeria.